Accessibility testing, what is it? Well, Playwright is saying that it can be used to test accessibility issues, but it doesn't tell you what it is. So I'm going to do a very quick Google just so that you can understand what is accessibility testing. So, but again, Google's definition is it's a concept of whether a product service can be used by everyone. Now, this everyone is a key over here. What does everyone mean? Like, if I'm looking at this website over here, you can see the background is black. Can you actually see my screen and read the text on the background? Most people, like if you look at the comments in my previous video, said the white background was hurting their eyes. So to make this accessible, Playwright website has added features like this moon and sun, which changes the background color and the text color. So it's in your eyes. Like right now, I'm sorry for doing this. I just wanted to give you an example. It was in your eyes when I did a white background and then brought it back to black. So most of the devs who are working on the code, they usually have a black background with the editor and then colorful text on top of it. It's a little softer on the eyes. But what about those people who can't differentiate between the colors? So what if I had like gray text on this dark background or dark text on dark background? Would you be able to read it? Now, these are the type of things that you need to test separately from user point of view. I mean, the website would still be functional. You would still be able to click on the buttons, but would the website be accessible? That would be the question. And WCAG, let's look at WCAG. So WCAG is basically web content accessibility guidelines, and they have provided multiple guidelines for the type of accessibility, and they have provided standards of accessibility as well. So this is not the official website. I'll put the link in there, but you can trust this one as well. So w3.org, where you can see web content accessibility guidelines, and you can see when they were published and who was there in publishing these guidelines. So all of these guidelines have some sort of like names. So WCAG 2.1, and then if you look at, let's see, 2.1 AA. So here it says A is the lowest, AA and AAA is the highest. And you can read more about like what they are, how they are implemented, like what they're checking about orientation, text contrast, text spacing, pointer gestures, and all of these things. Now imagine you are doing this manually and checking if it's all of these things are matching. Humanly, it is not possible to test each and everything consistently, repeatedly after every change. And this is why you need automation. But there is a caveat. So if you look at the documentation from Playwright, they said, we recommend using a combination of automated testing, manual accessibility assessments, and inclusive user testing. So when you're building a feature, it is always recommended to make sure there is manual assessment done and user testing is done. After the feature is built and you're basically doing iterative development, it would be good to have some sort of automated test for each change to make sure that things haven't broken. And Playwright, coming back to Playwright, how does Playwright basically helps us do that? Well, we can just scan an entire page in Playwright using this library called xcore/playwright package, and it's literally 2 lines. Like you go to the website, you have included the X builder from xcore, and you just say analyze. But analyze to what standard? Well, the best thing is to specify the tags. So if I look at the website, the next bit in the code where we can, so this one. So it says X builder page, and then you can specify what tags it should use and what should it analyze. So let's actually start coding, and then we'll get to know like what it does and how it works. So I'm going to copy this bit of code, and I'm going to create a new file in my, the Hello World project that I've been using throughout the whole thing. So let's say this is my test new file, and this is accessibility.spec.ts. Let's just go with that. I'm gonna put the test down, and if you remember, we need some sort of imports. So the import we need are these two. So Xcore will give us the X builder, but what is it saying over here? It says cannot find module. So I don't have Xcore installed. So if I look at my package JSON, I don't have the dev dependency as Xcore. So what I need to do is npm install Xcore. Now this is installed as dependencies. It should be a dev dependency. So you could just do it. Let's see, npm so dev dependency, save dev, sorry. So they just save dev. So I only use a command and it moved from from dependencies to dev dependencies. And the reason it's in dev dependencies is you only need these things during the pipeline build, not in the production build. So the things that you need in the production build, you put it in the dependencies. So that's another thing for you to know. I guess it might help. Anyways, looking at let's pick one of the pages. Let's see if bbc.co.uk is any of these accessible. So let's see. So we'll just run the test. So npx playwright test. So it is complaining about this line. It says cannot find Xcore playwright module, and I've just installed Xcore module. Now, is Xcore same as Xcore playwright? We can definitely find it out from Xcore npm registry. And the answer is, so this is one. Now I'm going to find another one, npmjs.com. I'm going to search for this. So you can see that there are two different packages. So this is a core package. This will not direct, so it's a vanilla package. It will not work with Playwright, and both are done by the same dev. You can see DQ Labs. So if you want something for Playwright, you would use Xcore Playwright. So I'm gonna uninstall Xcore, npm uninstall Xcore, and then there's just save dev for Xcore Playwright. Now let's see if this will work. So I'm going to run the test again without the backslash this time, and it is showing me the report, and the report says that I don't have the browser installed. So I might have cleared cache. So the best thing to do in this case is you will not get all of these issues. These are things that I will have because I keep on clearing my cache. I keep on deleting things, and this is, I mean, if you are watching this video, it's helpful for you, because if you come across these things and you're just banging your head against the wall, well, I'm your friend. I have already shown you how to fix these issues here. So I come across these issues like on daily basis, and it's fine. Like if you are developing on Playwright only and your system is only set up for Playwright, you wouldn't do any of these things that to like delete a cache or remove stuff. But I'm doing several different things on my personal machine. As you can see, the name is video editor, doing blockchain related activities as well as Playwright. But I love Playwright. I want to use Playwright for everything, to be honest, even for the games. So now let's run the test. By using for the games, I mean playing games. I'll come to that in one of the videos. I'll show you how you can do that. It's a fun activity. So it's running another spec which I don't want to run. So I'm just gonna let's let it run so that you can see what's going on. So with my normal test, so I had other tests written over here which are based on page object model. I'm doing accessibility testing as well in the same test suite. So if you had a question about can we do it two different types of testing in Playwright in the same test suite, the answer is yes. Now I'm just going to click on accessibility test and just run these tests, this particular test. So it says that it has passed. What does pass mean over here? Like, we don't understand. Like, it says bbc.co.uk is accessible. I know it is accessible because I worked for the BBC in the past, and I know I've created some accessibility tools for the BBC, which you can find on github.com/bbc/ what was that thing? I'll put it in the comments, but I knew that it was accessible. Let's find a website which is not accessible. It's hard to find these kind of website these days, so we can pick a really old website, just not accessible website. Let's just do who's accessible. So examples of ADA compliant. Do you want to become inaccessible websites? So Air Choice 1, it says that Air Choice 1 is inaccessible, this website. So let's put a link of this website here and see what it does. So I'm gonna rerun the test. It says should not have automatically, so it is one test. Yeah, there you go. So when it fails the accessibility test, it gives you this kind of JSON and says what's wrong with it. So let's just look at the whole message here. So description ensures every HTML document has a lang attribute. So help HTML element must have a lang attribute, and it has a serious impact. So if I do a view source of this page, the HTML element doesn't have a lang attribute. HTML has a lang attribute. Can you see lang ENGB? So it has given me like details about every issue with the like it has given me tags, has the issue with the lang attribute for that one, image attributes. So it has talked about all the image attributes that are not correct, or it doesn't have the alt in it. There's so many issues. You can just straight away find out all the issues and make it fail in the pipeline. Imagine if an engineer writes a code, HTML code, and forgets to add alt tag for the image, so alt attribute for the image tag. This will fail the test directly in the pipeline and won't let it progress. Okay, so what if I wanted this report as a test info? So that was another thing that I wanted to explore in this video, which is if I go beyond, there is a thing about, like I said, test info one. So the attachment. So exporting scan results as a test attachment. So I'm gonna copy this bit which says whatever the scan results are, I want to export that. So what is test info over here? Test info is a fixture. Is it a fixture? Let's see. So I'm gonna search for test info. Contains information about currently running tests. It is available to test functions before each, after each, before. Provides utilities to control test execution, attach files, update test timeout, determine which test is currently running, whether it was retired. So it gives all the information about the test, and it's like you do. It's outside the curly brackets. After the comma, you just specify test info, and you can use that in the test. So that's how I've done it. So not over here, obviously. It would be over here. So async. And in the curly bracket we have got page, so I'm gonna just put it in one line so that you can see how it is. And then I've added comma, and then this, and then my editor is just shifting everything back. Okay, I'm gonna run this again, and let's see what happens when we do an attach. So attach as test info, what do I do differently? So if I don't have it, let's see. If I remove this and run the test again, there's no impact over here. What's the difference? Attach a value or a file from this to the current test. Some reporters show test attachments at the path or body. So we can attach things within the test using the test info, like a screenshot. So I think it would be attached to the report. So if I run the test with the test info, so let's just run it without it. So I'm gonna run it via command line this time. npx playwright test. So it will run the test, all the tests, obviously, and then we can use the show report to see the report. Usually when it fails, it automatically opens the report. So, and violations are things that you see. So I can already see the object over here. So let's try it with attach, and let's. So I'm gonna rerun the test. This time I've got test info, attach, accessibility, scan results. I'm assuming that would be like another section or something. I haven't used that before, so let's see. Let's experience it together. It makes more sense. Okay, so I can see attach over here in the test steps. if I click, oh, there you go. At the bottom we have got attachments, so you can attach the whole thing, and I think it's related to the pipeline. So this is more like a console log or terminal log, but you can attach the whole result so that you can download and provide it to someone else. So that this is the difference. So you can attach it as a file to the test report. It's a separate artifact. Nice, I like that. So make sure you have got some sort of like attachment as well. Scanning is like very straightforward. There's nothing else to add over here. I mean, if you go to the documentation for Playwright, it not here, not this one, the accessibility, it's talking about just specify the tag that you want to check. Oh, one more thing. So for example, there is a violation that you want to ignore. Don't do it, but just in case, if you want to do it, Playwright also says that you can do it. You can test particular element, or you can disable certain rules. So for example, duplicate ID. In our case, let's say I want to disable the rule for HTML. What was that? I'm gonna go back to the test report. We saw HTML lang. So HTML has lang. So I'm gonna try to disable this. And the way I'm picking the ID is like, you can see in the output of the report, there is a section called ID. So for each of these rules, there is an ID. So I'm picking HTML has lang. So if you want to disable something else, you pick the ID from here. For example, image-alt. So I'm gonna pick HTML has lang, run this test here again, and this time it didn't complain about HTML lang. It started from the image-alt. So yes, you can disable certain rules if you like, but don't do it, please. I wouldn't recommend that. But it's good to know, right? So you can disable certain things. You can change values. And you can say, okay, at maybe 5 violations are fine. You can do counting as well, but I wouldn't recommend. So go for expect, get the violations, make sure it comes back as an empty error, and that is what will make sure that your website is accessible. From what point of view? Well, again, if you go back to Playwright docs, they have given you a very nice definition of how they are scanning it. It's not on this document. So what Playwright does is it looks at all the DOM tree, and they're calling it accessibility tree. So, and this accessibility tree or AX tree is used by assistive technologies. So Playwright basically is using the rendering engines from Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit, but this is the same tree that is being used by the actual accessibility readers like screen readers or switches. So hopefully it should be very close to what we want. Ignore the deprecated warning. This is a completely separate thing. So we were looking at Xcore, which is a separate. So it's deprecated in the Playwright API, but that is why we have got a separate library that we use, which is compatible with Playwright. So hope that helps. And if you have got any questions, just make sure you put down in the comments.